Bro, what is Oda cooking? We just got the leaks for chapter 1150, and I'm not gonna lie, Imu might be one of the most cracked villains in One Piece history, maybe even in the big three in general. So let's get right into it. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the page. Here we go. So I'm gonna go through how we got there real quick. Of course, the chapter starts off exactly where the last chapter left off. Gunko is being manipulated by Imu, and the kids are still being guided by Gunko's arrow to falling off of the island. And of course, the adults are trying to stop them. So suddenly you see this massive amount of advanced Conqueror's Haki emanating from Gunko's body, and it knocks out the giants and the kids. The giant pirates, led by Dory and Bragi, however, are still running towards Imu, still on the attack, still on the offensive. But just as they get to her, we actually get to see a glimpse of Imu, and it's still Gunko, of course, so this isn't exactly how Imu's gonna look, but this is a manifestation and probably a good indicator of what Imu is gonna look like. So we see the large bat wings, you see the devil's tail, you see the trident. The trident is black, mind you, kind of similar to Mihawk's blade, kind of similar to Zoro's intent. So it's very safe to assume that this is a Haki weapon that she's holding. So just as they're getting close enough to attack Imu, and you literally can see Bragi in Imu's face, Imu summons this grimoire on some Black Clover type shit. And from the grimoire, you see two things pop out. The first thing is a dagger, and the next thing is a black double-barrel shotgun. And it's very safe to assume that this is a Haki weapon as well because of how black it is. And it's the exact same tone as Mihawk's blade. She fires the gun once. Mind you, the gun is pretty much the same size as Imu's body or as Gunko's body. And it completely rips off Bragi's arm at the wrist. I had to make sure it was Bragi and not Dory. His hand falls to the ground, and then she immediately summons this devil circle type. So we're really like getting knee deep into black magic at this point. First we got the grimoire, and then again we have these devil circles, which we saw with the Holy Knights being summoned, and we've also seen it with the Gorosei here or there, but she is literally just pulling out anything out her ass at this point. The circle surrounds Dory, and now his body gets turned into that very similar hers, to that of a devil. So increase the size. Look how big he is compared to the other giants. It gives him the bat wings, it gives him the black horns, and also he has an axe that is also a black weapon now. The axe wasn't black before. So already so far, before we even got to the end of the chapter, we've seen her use mind control, mass mind control, because now she's able to control not just Gunko, but Gunko, Dory, and Bragi. Matter manipulation, because the giant is bigger than the giants were before, and also weapon summoning, and these weapons are black blades and black weapons, Haki weapons. But wait, there's more. Imu continues. So it's not just Dory and Bragi, it's all the giants. It looks like Imu enacts something called the Devil's Contract, which makes them immortal devil beings with insane strength, but at the cost of a short part of their lifespan. Now, at this point, Imu has manifested a giant army, a devil giant army. And you still have Killingham's creations in the background, the manifestations of the kids' fears. This is the last page, I believe. And on the very last page, you pretty much just get to see the army that Imu just spawned within the last few chapters. At the beginning of this chapter, all she had was Gunko under control, and she had, of course, Killingham and the Holy Knights helping her out. Now she has increased, enhanced strength, increased sized giants that are being under her control in the form of demons. They have the wings, they have the tails, they have black Haki weapons. She has a massive amount of advanced Conqueror's Haki who was able to knock out everybody in the vicinity on the island who wasn't resistant to that kind of thing. You feel me? Like, and this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg, because this isn't actually Imu. This is Imu controlling somebody else from a very far distance away. If she is technically in the Holy Land or wherever Imu, resides, she's able to do this from leagues away. In theory, full-powered Imu is like a sight to see. Like, full-powered Imu might be able to mind control like countries, entire races of people, which makes this mural make a little bit more sense now, because right behind Luffy, you see Loki. And Loki was painted as this villain who slayed his father, who was the king of the giants and 100 able-bodied giants for no reason. Now we know that the main villain, the final villain, has the ability to control the minds of many people and beings at once. So what if, Loki was put in a position to where they were under control, only Loki knew and only Loki could stop them, and the only way he could stop them was by killing them. You feel me? So now Loki could be being vindicated here pretty soon, now that this big revelation is that Imu has the ability to control the minds of anybody, is what it seems. And it's really cool because this mural is really coming together. Like, so we have Imu, or whoever Imu's controlling at this point, with, the giant devil looking creature, Luffy's Joy Boy, of course. This is gonna be interesting to me. King, the Lunarian. We haven't really seen a Lunarian, unless, you're considering Vegapunk's creation, so that might make sense. But King was the only Lunarian that I can think of, but he's not really, I couldn't picture him being on the side of Luffy. And also, is he not dead? Let me know in the comments. You got Laboon, you got Emeth, you got the Sulong Minks, Alabasta Warriors, you got the Wano Warriors, Loki, of course, the Tuntata, Sea King, you got Poseidon, which is Shirahoshi, the Mink Tribe, and the Giants. It's like literally all here. The gang is all assembled damn near for the final battle, which is it's exciting, but it's also sad because that means One Piece actually will end at some point. I've been reading One Piece for years, so it always kind of felt like One Piece would always be there, but we're literally entering the final stages, the end times of One Piece, and it's like just written all over the walls, literally. Like, no pun intended with his mural. This is actually a really insane chapter. I can't believe this. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is the army that Imu just created, pretty much spawned out of nowhere in the span of pages. So now I'm kind of like curious, like, I don't know if this is a threat that the Straw Hats can handle on their own. So that makes me think, who's gonna come? Who's gonna help bail them out? Of course you have Gabon there with them, but Gabon isn't gonna be a whole lot of the help. And I don't think honestly that'd be enough to still push them over the edge. Because at this point you have the giant demon army, you have Killingham's creations in the background, the large manifestations of, you know, the fears of the kids. You have the Holy Knights that are there, and you have, you know, Imu actually there in Gunko's body. I don't know if the Straw Hats have the manpower. It's not even necessarily, you know, saying that all these beings are stronger than the Straw Hats. It's just, I don't know if they necessarily have the manpower. So somebody has to be on their way. And I know everybody likes to say, oh, the Revolutionary Army will move when Imu moves, or when the Holy Knights move, or when the Gorosei move. So it could be the Revolutionary Army. In a perfect world for me, it would be nice if the red hair pirates showed up, because I mean, Elbaf is kind of their territory in a lot of ways. They're being attacked. It makes sense canonically, you know, and honestly, I would just love to see Shanks in action side by side with Luffy. That'd be cool. We'll definitely get a lot more information on, you know, him and his beef with Loki, and, you know, so, and Loki used to look up to Rox. You know, Rox had the beef with Gold Roger. Gold Roger was, you know, the OG, the red hair Shanks. So it's just a lot of cool things could happen if Shanks pulled up to the island at this point. Now, I probably won't happen, but that's what I want to see, to be honest. So another crazy chapter coming. I'll let you guys know as, you know, more information comes out when we get these English translations and stuff. I'm sure there'll be more details that are worth talking about. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page if you haven't already for more content like this. Let me know in the comments, what are you looking forward to? What are you scared of? What are you excited for? Let's talk about it in the comments. Peace out.